Hi, I'm Kate. I'm 33, a manufacturing engineer. And for 4 years, I was my dad's company. I made it efficient, profitable, scalable. And for 4 years, I made $45,000 a year while my younger brother Tyler played beer pong and flunked his way through college on dad's dime. 2 months after he finally stumbled across the graduation stage with a 2 point for GP and a participation trophy, dad named him CEO. I didn't quit that day. I gave my notice 2 days later. Now, I work for their biggest competitor at 5 times the salary, and guess who just called me crying because the company's collapsing and Tyler doesn't know what a lathe is? Let me back up to the beginning. Dad started J&K Fabrication 30 years ago in a rented garage with one old press brake and a dream. I respected that hustle truly. That was back when he believed in grit, long hours, and knowing every corner of your business. Somewhere along the way, that turned into believing his son should inherit it just for being born male. I graduated Ohio State with a mechanical engineering degree and zero student debt thanks to scholarships and 3 years of working nights at a machine shop. Started at J&K the week after finals. Junior manufacturing engineer. No fancy welcome party. No special treatment. Just a glad you're here. Make yourself useful. And I did. I made myself essential. 6 months in, I'd already redesigned to production lines, reduced waste by 23%. And got us delivering on schedule for the first time in years. That meant real money, more than $300,000 in savings. You know what I got? A lukewarm good work at my review and no raise. Dad said the company couldn't afford it. Meanwhile, Tyler was flunking his second attempt at Intro to Econ and posting from spring break in Cancun. Year 2, I got us ISO certified, streamlined our extrusion process. We landed a new automotive contract worth $2.3 million off the back of my quality metrics and delivery times. I didn't just engineer parts, I built relationships. Clients started asking for me by name. I asked for a raise again, just enough to get closer to market rate $65,000. Dad said no, said family business meant sacrifice, said I should be grateful to be trusted with this much responsibility. Funny, because I never asked to carry the company on my back. I just did it because I thought it meant something, because I thought someday I'd earn a seat at the table. Then came year 3. That was the year Tyler finally graduated. Took him 6 years. 3 major changes, and 1 semester on academic probation, but he walked. Dad bought him a $48,000 truck as a graduation gift. I was still driving a rusted-out F-150 with no AC. 2 weeks after the graduation barbecue, Dad called an all-hands meeting. Everyone thought we were landing another contract. Instead, he announced Tyler was joining as co. A guy who still called me to ask what the difference was between torque and force. A guy whose biggest leadership experience was being the designated driver, and even that only worked half the time. Tyler walked in wearing a fresh tailored suit and gave a speech that included the words synergy, vibes, and streamlining the culture. I wanted to throw up. Wanna guess what his starting salary was? $75,000, plus company truck. Plus bonuses tied to my performance metrics. I asked Dad flat out if he thought that was fair. His answer: Tyler's going to be running this place someday. You should be proud to help build that legacy. That's when I knew I was never getting the raise, never getting the promotion, never getting respect, because I was just the daughter, the workhorse, the backup dancer in a one-man Tyler show. And if I wanted anything different, I'd have to burn it all down. The night after Tyler's coronation, I poured myself a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and updated my resume for the first time in 4 years. It was like writing an obituary for the version of me that thought hard work alone would be enough. Then I sent an email I drafted months ago but never had the nerve to send. It went to Mark Chen, CEO of Apex Manufacturing Solutions, one of our biggest competitors. Mark had approached me at a conference a year earlier, complimented my panel on lean workflows, said I had rare insight for someone stuck in a family shop. At the time, I laughed it off, told him I wasn't ready to leave. He said, well, when you were, let's talk. We talked. We met for coffee 2 days later. I brought documentation, the metrics, The CAD improvements, the QC processes, the $10 million in client contracts I'd spearheaded. I laid it all out: what I'd built, what I'd saved, what I was being paid. Mark didn't blink. "I'll start you at $160,000 base," he said, "plus bonuses. Most of our senior consultants break $200,000 in year one. You'll travel, lead projects, work with companies who appreciate you." "Ewan," I said yes before the foam on my latte settled. That night, I typed my resignation. One page, polite, professional. I didn't vent. I didn't call out the hypocrisy or the favoritism. Just "thank you for the opportunity. Effective 2 weeks from today, I will be stepping down." When I handed Dad the letter the next morning, he stared at it like I'd slapped him. "This is about money?" he asked. "It's about respect," I said, "and compensation. And not playing second fiddle to someone who couldn't define throughput if you spotted him through." He got defensive, told me I was being emotional, said Tyler just needed time, said I should be supportive. "You had 4 years," I said. "I asked for $80,000. Tyler got $75,000 on day one." Dad stood up, all red-faced. "After everything this family's done for you, what has this family done for me?" I asked. He had no answer. For the next 2 weeks, the air in that building was ice cold. Dad ignored me. Tyler tried to delegate tasks to me like he suddenly remembered he was cool. I ignored him. The machinists, my people, were the only ones who acted normal. Some gave me hugs. Some asked where I was headed. A few asked if I'd take them with me. On my last day, I handed off documentation, tried again to explain key systems to Tyler. He nodded along, checking his phone mid-sentence. When I left, Dad didn't even come out of his office. Tyler gave me this smug little smirk like, "Good luck without us." I didn't even say goodbye. I just walked out the front door into the sun, got in my beat-up truck, and smiled so hard my cheeks hurt. I was done, free, and headed for a company that knew exactly how valuable I was. Day one at Apex felt like stepping into a parallel universe where competence was actually rewarded. Orientation was a blur of welcome lunches, onboarding meetings, and actual grown adults treating me like I had a functioning brain. My manager, Sarah, was a legend in the industry. PhD in industrial engineering, 20 years of experience, zero tolerance for BS. First thing she said to me after introductions, "Your resume reads like someone who's been underpaid and underestimated for far too long. Let's change that." I almost cried. My first project was with a Tier 1 automotive supplier that had been bleeding money due to quality control issues. I spent 3 months on site revamping their inspection processes, retraining their line supervisors, and implementing the exact systems I'd begged my dad to upgrade 5 years earlier. Client satisfaction shot up, defect rate dropped by 40%. At the follow-up review, the plant manager looked at me like I'd cured a disease. My first quarterly bonus, $18,000. I checked the deposit 3 times before I believed it. I cried again. Not out of joy, okay? Maybe a little, but mostly out of anger that this was what I'd always been worth, and I'd just been gaslighted into accepting scraps. Meanwhile, back at J&K Fabrication, the ship was already starting to sink. I didn't hear anything directly. Dad wasn't exactly sending me company updates, but the manufacturing world is smaller than you'd think. Trade shows, supplier whispers, industry newsletters. All it takes is one by complaining over drinks, and suddenly you know everything. Word on the floor was chaos. Orders late, customers pissed, Tyler overpromising and under-delivering. Apparently, he tried to streamline operations by slashing inspection steps because, hey, quality slows things down, right? The result? One $400,000 contract lost in a single week because of faulty parts. Another client canceled after a shipment showed up with mismatched specs. And then the office manager, Jeanette, the only person keeping admin afloat, quit, just walked out. That's when the emails started. "Kate, just wanted to say the place isn't the same without you. Tyler's in over his head. We all know it. You made that company run, and now it's running itself into the ground. I don't suppose you're hiring." By month 6, 2 of J&K's biggest clients had quietly approached Apex for consulting. One of them, Precision Metalworks, the competitor Dad used to mock as the JV team. They asked for me specifically. That contract, $230,000. I'd be consulting on efficiency, scalability, supply chain optimization, the exact blueprint I'd once used to turn J&K into a machine. Now I was building it into a weapon for the enemy. A better, faster, leaner operation. Tyler never stood a chance. The week before I started that project, I got a text from an unknown number. "Dad, we need to talk. It's about the company. Please call me." I didn't reply. Then Tyler texted. "Tyler, things are getting bad. Seriously, we need help. Your help. Still nothing." Then Mom, your father's not well. He's stressed. Please, just talk to him. It's still your family. But see, that was the thing. It wasn't. Not anymore. 3 days into my project with Precision Metalworks, my phone rang 5 times in a row. Dad, Tyler, Mom, and no number again. I ignored all of them, but then came a LinkedIn message from John. "Just so you know, your dad's trying to get in touch. He's panicked. Company's in free fall. Tyler promised a 6-week turnaround on a job that takes 10, and the client pulled their entire account. We're hemorrhaging. And now he's blaming you for leaving." I stared at the message for a full minute. Blaming me? Like I hadn't practically gift-wrapped the entire operation before I left. Like I hadn't begged for basic market compensation while being the only one who understood how the floor even worked. Then came the email. Dad had found my Apex address. Subject, urgent, please read. "Kate, I know you're angry, but we're in serious trouble. We've lost 3 major accounts this quarter. Banks tightening the line of credit. Your brother's trying, but he's not you. We need help. We need you. Please name your price, salary, title, whatever it takes. Let's fix this together." He even signed it. "Love, Dad." I flagged it as spam. A week later, I was on site at Precision when security buzzed my desk. "There's a guy in the lobby. Says he's your brother." I sighed. "Is he crying?" A pause. "Looks like he might be about to." I went down. Tyler stood there in a wrinkled suit that still had a dry cleaner tag on the sleeve. He looked like a middle manager at a haunted Blockbuster. "You have to come back," he blurted, skipping hello. "We're going under. Dad's having chest pains. Mom's on anxiety meds. I don't know what I'm doing." I blinked. "That's because you don't know what you're doing. I didn't ask for this," he said, voice cracking. "Dad just gave it to me. I thought you'd still be there, too. Like, help." I crossed my arms. So that was the plan. You wear the crown. I clean the toilets." "Got it. I'm serious," he said. "We're gonna lose everything. What do you want? Money, equity, name it." I stepped closer. "I want you to fail, Tyler. I want you to experience what it feels like when hard work doesn't matter. When no matter how capable you are, someone else less experienced, less competent gets handed the job you deserve. I want you to know how it felt watching you get CEO after 2 months while I got paid less than the floor manager." He just stood there, stunned. "You think this is about a raise? You think this is about titles?" I asked. "This is about being erased. 4 years. And now, you want me to fix the mess you made pretending I didn't exist?" "No, Kate," he whispered. I turned to security. "Please escort Mr. Goldenchild out of the building." They did. And I went back upstairs to finish implementing the very systems that would put J&K out of business. 3 months after Tyler got escorted out of my building like a confused intern who wandered into the wrong job fair, J&K Fabrication filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It didn't make the papers or anything. Just a quiet line in the industry newsletter I read over coffee on a Tuesday. I stared at it for a long time. Not out of shock. Out of a closure. Chapter 11 turned into Chapter 7 pretty fast. Apparently, the reorganization plan was just Tyler emailing clients things like "we're doing our best" and Dad trying to refinance a building they didn't fully own. The creditors weren't impressed. 2 weeks later, I was sitting in Bill Stevens' office, my boss's boss at Precision Metalworks. He pushed a folder across the desk and said, "J&K's assets are up for auction. Contracts, equipment, IP, all of it." I opened the folder. List after list of everything I'd helped build. Machines I'd spec'd. Templates I'd written. Clients I'd onboarded. Marked down for pennies on the dollar. I want to buy it, Bill said. Not all of it, just the good stuff. And I want you to lead the integration. Full autonomy. VP level authority. Salary bump. You in. I didn't even blink. I'm in. 3 weeks later, we own the best parts of J&K. The top 8 employees, the ones who hadn't already jumped ship, got job offers. 7 accepted. The 8th retired and sent me a handwritten thank you card. We all knew you were the one making it work. The kicker. Tyler didn't get an offer. Not even an interview. Instead, Dad pulled one last rabbit out of the nepotism hat and got him a job at his buddy's logistics firm. Entry level, $38,000 a year. From CEO to box checker in 10 months. He posted on LinkedIn about it like he was on a soul-searching mission, starting from the bottom, learning the ropes, rebuilding with humility. Every word made me want to throw my laptop out the window. And then came Dad's post. A 5-paragraph essay thinly veiled as a leadership lesson. He blamed me for the company's collapse. Said I'd abandoned the family at a critical time and undermined legacy operations. Said loyalty should mean more than dollars. Oh hell. No. I didn't write a fiery rebuttal. I posted one thing, a bullet point timeline. 4 years of unpaid overtime and below market salary, $10.5 million. Revenue jumped due to my workflow designs. Promoted Tyler to CEO after 2 months. He left quality tanked, clients left bankruptcy filed, assets acquired by a competitor. No drama. Just facts. The comments. Savage. Kate was the best engineer you ever had. I pulled my contract after she left. Things fell apart. Funny how she made you millions and you never gave her a raise. Had deleted his post by the end of the day. 6 months later, Precision promoted me to senior principal consultant, then offered me a seat at the executive strategy table. My total comp hit $285,000. I bought a house, 4 bedrooms, 2-car garage, finished basement. My mortgage, less than what Tyler makes in a year. Mom called me. Said Dad had finally retired officially this time. Said Tyler was adjusting and that maybe now was a good time to reconnect. I told her I was busy. Which was true. I was busy thriving. 8 months post-bankruptcy, I was having lunch with Bill, my boss, at this steakhouse in downtown Columbus. We were reviewing our acquisition rollout, how the J&K integration had gone so smoothly it felt illegal. Morale was high. The clients we'd inherited were actually thrilled because, quote, it's like working with the same team, just smarter and on time. Then Bill hit me with it. So, he said, cutting into his sirloin like it owed him money, I've got a thought. With the way you handled this acquisition, the client retention, the ops strategy, there's an opening for VP of Operations coming up next quarter. I blinked. That's a big role. It is, he said. Which is why you're the obvious choice. You built this transition. You rebuilt their team. You turned a burned-down factory into a revenue machine. We'd be idiots not to give it to you. I didn't say yes right then, but I didn't have to. I think the grin on my face said it all. That afternoon, I checked my email and saw a name I hadn't thought about in months. Tyler. Subject line apology. It was long, rambling, guilt-soaked. I didn't realize how much you did. I thought I'd step in and things would just work. But everything fell apart because I wasn't ready. I wasn't even close. Dad always made it seem like I was born for this. Turns out, I was born into this, but you earned it. You were right. I failed. And I'm sorry. I read it 3 times. Didn't respond. He followed up a few days later. Told me he was working in logistics now. Said it was humbling. That he finally understood what it meant to work hard and get no credit. Said he thinks about how he treated me. How we treated me. Every day. I wish I'd stood up to Dad, he wrote. But mostly I wish I'd been more like you. Okay. I admit it. That one hit a little. But still, I didn't reply. Not because I hated him. I didn't. Not anymore. But because there are some stories that end quietly, without a dramatic reunion, without some kumbaya forgiveness arc. Because sometimes, the best thing you can say is nothing. Let the silence speak louder than any comeback ever could. A month later, I was speaking on a panel at an industry event. Topic: Rebuilding Legacy Operations with Modern Efficiency. Guess who was in the audience? Tyler, sitting in the back row, wearing a generic polo shirt with a small logistics company logo, notebook in hand, actually paying attention. Afterward, he came up to me, waited his turn behind a small group of people asking questions. When we locked eyes, I saw it that weird mix of regret and respect. He didn't try to hug me, didn't ask to catch up. Just said, "You were always better than me. And I'm glad the world finally sees it, too." I nodded. "Take care, Tyler." And just like that, we went our separate ways. No drama. No fake smiles. Just quiet acknowledgement. Because when you finally build a life without needing their approval, their apologies don't matter quite as much. I never thought planning a wedding would feel like issuing military invitations, but here we were. Oliver, my fiancé. The project director I met through Apex kept joking that I was treating the guest list like an Excel file with conditional formatting. Because, honestly, I was. People who supported me, people who gaslight me, underpaid me, or handed CEO titles to unqualified brothers. We sent out 87 invites. Mom got one. Dad and Tyler did in single quotes T.Q the drama. Mom called me 2 days after her invitation arrived. "So, your father and brother aren't invited." I didn't sugarcoat it. "Nope." Long pause. "Kate, I know things were hard, but this is your wedding. Their family." "Exactly," I said. "Which is why they're not invited. My family, the people who chose me, believed in me, showed up for me, they're the ones who'll be there." She tried the guilt route. "Your father nearly died last year, and he treated me like I didn't exist for 30 years, I replied. "So we're even." Silence. Then, quietly, "I understand. I don't like it, but I understand." To her credit, she didn't push it again. And on the day of the wedding, she showed up alone. And behaved. Oliver's family. Absolute angels. His mom cried through half the ceremony, and his dad gave me this huge, emotional hug after the vows and whispered, "Welcome home, Kate." The reception was held in a garden under string lights. My old shop floor guys, now happily employed at Precision, gave a toast that included the phrase, "You were always the real boss." Sarah, my mentor from Apex, got tipsy and told Oliver, "If you ever stop supporting her brilliance, I'll fire you and marry her myself." And me. I danced. I laughed. I drank really expensive champagne without checking the price first. I was surrounded by people who knew my worth. At one point, I snuck away to the edge of the patio to take it all in. That's when I saw him. Tyler. Across the street. Just standing there. In a wrinkled button-down. No invite, no car. Just watching. I didn't react. I just turned away. If he thought this was his movie moment, his dramatic apology scene where I run over in my wedding dress and forgive everything, he didn't know me at all. I didn't need his regret. I had peace. And that was better than any apology. 2 years later, I was sitting on my back deck in my favorite hoodie, sipping coffee and watching Oliver struggle admirably to assemble a patio heater with our dog trying to help. My phone buzzed. Another industry newsletter. Another article about company mergers and leadership shifts. And tucked in the middle, like a footnote to someone else's downfall, former J&K Fabrications CEO Tyler Grant has accepted a junior project coordinator role at D&T Logistics. Sources say he's working toward a PMP certification and plans to focus on supply chain fundamentals moving forward. Translation: he's finally learning what he should have known before taking over a company. I smiled. Not meanly, just peacefully. Because here's the truth. I'm not angry anymore. That girl who spent 4 years grinding at 60 hours a week for a dad who paid her less than a floor manager. She doesn't live here anymore. She bought a house with her own damn money. She marries someone who sees her as an equal. She gets invited to speak at conferences and mentor young engineers. She makes $340,000 a year doing work that matters, with a team that listens when she talks. Dad never tried to reach out again after the wedding. I think he finally got the message, not the one I said with words, but the one I said by building a life without needing a single thing from him. Tyler. We haven't spoken since he spectated my wedding like a wedding crasher ghost. He posts motivational quotes on LinkedIn now. A lot of failures are lessons and grind harder stuff. He's become the underdog in his own head. Good for him. I hope it helps. But me? I stopped needing to be the underdog. I stopped playing the supporting role in someone else's inheritance story. I wrote my own. Every once in a while, someone from my past messages me. a former client, an old machinist, even a couple of dad's old buddies. They say things like, "You were always the reason that company worked," or "I knew you were the real one running the show." I don't correct them. I just say, thanks. I know, because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's peace. It's freedom. It's building a life so good. The people who try to ignore your worth can't stop seeing it everywhere they turn. And that's the story.